Hey guys, welcome to another video from Historic Militaria. Today we're going to be looking at the German P08 Artillery Luger, which was a German weapon of World War I. And this is a DWM example, which stood for Deutsche Waffenfabrik Munitions und Munitions. And I know I'm not pronouncing that right since I'm not German. I don't have the pronunciation. But you can tell it's a DWM gun by the DWM stylized monogram, and they made a large amount of Lugers for both the commercial and the military markets. Now, in typical Luger fashion, this has got a chamber date here of 1917, which is one of the more common years for these. 1914 being quite a rare year. If you do find one of those, it's definitely something to consider picking up. But 1917 is one of the years that is typically seen. And they gave this, I believe it's an 8 3/4 inch barrel, and it's got your nice standard Luger front sight, but you have an 800 meter tangent sight here, which is adjustable. One thing I will say is if you adjust it up to 800 meters, it actually starts to skew to the right or left. I forget which side, but it does start to skew and it looks like it's actually bent. That is the way it was made, so do not try to straighten it. You'll just be wrecking your gun if you try to do that. So if yours does skew out to the side when you are messing with it and you notice that, don't worry about it. That's the way they're supposed to be. This is just a very nice example of one. There's nothing particularly amazing about the gun other than the condition is just a very, very nice one with your Strad trigger and Strad takedown and Strad magazine release and Strad safety as well. Later World War II Lugers generally did not have the strawing after 1937. So the World War I Lugers, when you do find them with the straw, are just really, really nice looking guns. This one is actually outfitted with the snail drum magazine, which was the assault drum that you could mount on your Luger, and also went with the, I believe the designation was the MP18 submachine gun, and it holds 9mm rounds, and it's a standard 9mm parabellum cartridge that we all know and love today. This is a second variant of the magazine, and I'll show you the first variant in a little bit here. This one actually has the lever extended for loading, and these would hold a large capacity of rounds, which I won't say because of YouTube and their monetization policies. But let's just say it was about 30. Unfortunately, one of the ironies is these magazines are actually illegal in a number of states that have magazine capacity limits, even though there is no way you could really use these in a crime, and I'm sure they never have been used in a crime whatsoever. And just taking a look, you've got your standard strawing of all your small parts, and again, that's your takedown from the right side, and your typical DWM Imperial German acceptance marks. And underneath here, we have our standard Luger markings with serial number again repeated, along with the groove diameter of the barrel. Always with these German guns, all the small parts are going to be numbered. Everything from the grips to just everything is going to have at least the last two digits of the serial number, which this one does, and it's just a very nice example of one. This one is also cut like most Lugers for a shoulder stock, and that's your lug attachment right there. And I'll show you one of the shoulder stocks here. An original shoulder stock would be numbered to the gun. This is not numbered to a gun, so this is just a later commercial variant, but this is where it would mount on. And the amazing thing, the kind of cool thing, is pretty much any Luger will take a shoulder stock, and you can actually mount an original shoulder stock to a Luger, and it's not turning it into a short-barreled rifle. Why? Well, in their infinite wisdom, the ATF decided that because Mausers and broom handles and high powers and a few other very collectible guns are mostly just curio and relic guns, you can mount their original shoulder stocks to them, provided it's an original shoulder stock. I'm not in the business of giving legal advice. If you do it at your own risk anyway. The other standard Luger magazine is, of course, just your standard wood-bottomed World War I style nickel-plated magazine that held 8 rounds, and this is what you would expect to see in pretty much any Luger. This is actually what came with this gun. The snail drum was added later. Here's the snail drum cover. This actually slides onto the snail drum, and we'll take a look at a snail drum here. This is actually a Type 1 snail drum, and I'll show you the difference in just a minute. This is, again, your standard snail drum. It's got a clockwork spring in there that I would not want to come in contact with. It is a very strong spring. I imagine it could cut your fingers pretty bad. This is the loading tool. This just mounts onto your magazine, and you just action this lever to insert your cartridges, and it's a pretty simple pump type action, and you just put your cartridges in and just keep going until it won't take any more. Unfortunately, the loading tools are actually about as rare as the magazines themselves, and they do command something of a premium. Be wary of them because they are being faked today, so not all of them are original. You know, I'm not really going to get into how you can tell a fake from an original, but if you're looking to buy one, buy it from a reputable dealer, unless you are sure of the source. That's all I can tell you. And again, this is the cover that actually covers this part of the magazine when it's out of its loader, and that's just a dust cover, nothing amazing. Most of the ones on the market today do actually come with these, so they're not terribly rare to find with the original magazines. But going back to why this is a Type 1 magazine, you notice this has a very sharp lever on it, and that's your loading lever. And the danger with this is you actually fold this out, if it will cooperate. Fold that out until it clicks, and that gives you the leverage to start pulling back and giving this spring some tension against which to start loading your cartridges in. The problem is, if you let loose of this, it will fly like I can't believe. I let it go one time and it was not something I would want to get my hand caught in. This is actually pretty sharp as well, and I can just imagine it would do some serious damage to your fingers. So my entire advice is just don't even load one of these, just leave them alone. They're really nice to look at, but if something goes wrong with the spring inside, you're not going to be fixing it on your own. So just wanted to give you a brief overview of the World War I Artillery Luger and its associated snail drum magazines. Again, not a very common item, but they are out there. If you're looking to buy one, they certainly do exist, and I do hope you've enjoyed taking a look at one. As always, remember to like and subscribe, and we'll be doing more interesting videos on all kinds of militaria in the near future. Thanks for watching.